Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into the iRacing Today radio show for June the 15th, 2016. This is show number 146. My name is Trevor Cameron. I am your host, and here with me, as always, I have Mr. Chad Dalton in real and live form today. So, special treat. Special Chad, sitting in a dark room. But that's not so dark anymore. I'm confused. How you doing tonight, Chad, other than being, confused about how much you should be illuminated?
I guess I'm doing well.
Well, as long as you guess so.
Yeah. I like to change colors. So, like right now, I'm kind of a bluish white with a yellow shirt that you probably can't see anyways. But
No. That's just for me.
Yeah. But if I do this, I turn blue.
Oh, see?
And I go back to white. So it's kind of fun. And
Is it?
Now I'm just dark.
It
is fun. It's fun to change colors.
It's fun. It's fun for somebody. We're not sure who, but somebody. But yes, I have my secondary monitor up, which is it's slowly dying on me, so all the colors are messed up. So I have Chad on that second monitor over there, and he's almost a Smurf, as that's how blue he is, because the colors are messed up on that monitor, which is distracting. And also makes it challenging. Puts things on that monitor that are of value because it's all dark and miscolored and whatnot. But anyway, it seems like only 4 days ago that we were here recording last week's show because it was a late week last week, and so it's an early week next week. No, wait, this week. Early. Yay. So anyway, we're recording a day early in order to accommodate schedules and whatnot because, hey, we're busy people. We got stuff on the go. So it's only been 4 days, so it's going to be a bit of a shorter show this week. But there was one thing in particular that we wanted to make sure that we did a show so we could cover that. And we will get to that. If you've been anywhere near the forums, you know that iRacing made a change recently that has garnered some discussion. So we're going to tell you what that's all about and how the community is reacting to a degree. We're also going to, because we don't have a lot of other things going on, we're going to bring back the infamous and popular Car of the Week and Track of the Week this week. So we're going to talk about the Radical SR8, and we're going to talk about Watkins Glen, or the Glen to the insiders, because that fits appropriately into something that's going on this weekend. And then we'll talk about that iRacing thing and close it out with a deal? Which plays directly into what we're going to talk about before then, so you'll see what we mean when we get there. But moving into the show, hope everybody's having a great week. It's the middle of the week, it's Wednesday, it's hump day, the week's half over now. I've been working from home, I'm very confused about how things go anymore. I don't know how anything works anymore. Working from home has very much confused me. Actually, although tomorrow I'm going out, I'm going to buy some furniture and start building up my home office, because I don't think I should be working from my cockpit, because that seems unprofessional. And it's comfy, and I might fall asleep. Hard to say. But moving into our car of the week, it is the Radical SR8. And Chad, how radical is it?
Pretty radical. Actually, what's funny, and we'll get to this in a minute, our Car of the Week plays into the Track of the Week, too. Because everything's connected. We'll tell you about that, though, in a little while. So, the Radical SR8 V8 was founded in 1997. It is a British manufacturer, Radical sports car. Has produced a series of rear-engine, lightweight, two-frame, open cockpit sports racing cars. The use of the motorcycle-based engines keeps the car light and nimble. Near the top of the Radical range is the SR8 V8, which claimed the overall lap record at the Nürburgring's legendary 13-mile, 73-turn North to Life, with 380 horsepower and a 1,320-pound car. The performance of this nimble two-seater is a little short of stunning. Now, it is a two-seater, but you sit in the right side. I'm trying to figure out, though, why is it a two-seater?
in case you want to bring along a friend. I mean, it said that it raced on the Nürburgring, and that's apparently a popular thing to just bring people out and say, "Hey, bet you're scared now, aren't you?"
Yeah.
So, it doesn't look like it's a comfy two-seater. Like if you kind of
No.
look at it, it looks like
He's squished in there.
yeah, like you'd want to be really friendly with the guy that you were sitting beside there. So I mean, if you're going to do this for rally racing, which obviously I know this is not a car that you'd want to do that with, but if you had the guy sitting there reading the map, his elbows would be all in, and it'd be all like sharp left 3, but then he wouldn't be able to read the map anymore because he'd be elbowing you in the throat while he's trying to read the map. It would be bad. It would be a bad scene.
This would be the perfect car to bring your spouse along for the ride.
See, as long as you're getting along and everything's great, then that would be perfect.
It would.
But then again, you probably shouldn't be driving a race car with your spouse in it. And if you're just going for a road, drive down a country road, that seems like a poor decision.
Mm-hmm.
But
It does. So the chassis on this puppy is still space frame. It has 15 to 16 inch diameter Dunlop sticker tires. As I mentioned, 380 horsepower, which is a nice number because it's got a little bit of giddy up to it, but yet it's not quite over the top, if you will. I do believe that this is a Class C series
you are correct.
car. I am, because I am smart. And let's see, the bodywork is fiberglass.
And
Just trying to
that,
think of-
as I say, and that series it races in its own series, so it's not a multi-class series that it races in. It's in the Radical Racing Challenge, which is obviously participates on various road courses and whatnot, including what we're going to talk about soon for week 1.
Yes.
Looks like so far there's been 116 people have participated. I mean, season 1 or 3. Week 1 of season 3 has just kicked off a couple days ago, so not a lot of participation in a lot of the series yet, but there has been 116 people who have posted time or posted race of the results so far. So in the series, so healthier than the Kia. I'll give it
Very much so.
Poor Kia.
And it seems to have, if you go to the Radical SR8 V8 forum, it seems to have a pretty strong community that has actually grown. This is also the car that we talked about on a couple of shows ago, that they had all new physics and stuff going on with it for Season 2 that did not work out the way that they intended. So they
Right.
rolled it back to Season 1's specs. And a lot of people in this past week 13, just last week, were very pleased with the way the car drives, and there seems to be more excitement around this car for this season than compared to especially last season, but even prior to that. This is a car that I have limited experience in. I've never actually raced in the car, but I have participated in some practices and just some test sessions. And it's been one of those cars that I have seriously wanted to drive for quite some time. I might jump in this season just to give it a try. Just a couple of little quick hit things, but it can be a fun car to drive from my little experience that I have with it. And like I said, I like it. It's an enjoyable car, and it's one that I kind of want to drive one day. It's one of those that's on my list, to pick up and race. Well, I already own it, but to jump into it and race the thing. So I might do a couple of races this season. We'll see, because I'm kind of in that, as I've mentioned, not really committing into anything, just going to kind of be here, there, and everywhere. And Season 3, waiting on my big old internet. So maybe I'll jump in and do some stuff in this car. But it is a very fun car, and I believe that it's only $11.95, if I'm not mistaken, in USD. So if you'd like to pick it up, it's a good one to pick up. And it's got some pretty decent participation right off the bat compared to the Kia, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, we're not ragging on the Kia. I know it's become kind of a inside joke or an ongoing joke, I guess, with the show, but it's just that Chad tried to race it and found out that the participation was not good. And I just checked, and so far this season, in all of the divisions, there have been 20 people who have raced in the Kia Cup. So that's sad. So sad. Poor
Very
Kia.
sad. Poor Kia.
But the Radical's getting some good participation, so it seems like a fun car to go out and race around. And I know I've taken some laps in it, but nothing racing wise. I mean, I've raced in every car that I own, which is just about all of them. There's a few that I'm missing, but there are ones that I'm missing that are in classes that I could race. I have the cars that I need to race in every series that is available, and that's what's important to me. And I own all the tracks, so I'm comfortable with that. I don't need to have the Chevy truck. Don't need it. I got the Toyota. I'm fine. That sort of thing. So, but no, I have not raced in that particular car either. But looks like a lot of people are, which is great.
Yep, and it has in the forums its own setup shop, which a lot of the road cars do. There are some people chatting about how races go and how they setups and stuff. So there's a lot of information, and there's stuff about when you might get a strength of field race, or at least a race that is more likely to be guaranteed to go official. And apparently the races are pretty short, and they are every 2 hours on the odd hour. And there is single car qualifying that is attached to the race. So it is a good little car to race. And in week 1, they happen to be at the boot configuration of Watkins Glen, which is a nice little lead-in to our track of the week.
Boot. And our track of the week is Watkins Glen International, which is in Watkins Glen, New York, United States of America. For some reason, for the longest time, even though this is one of my favorite tracks, I remember thinking back and being surprised that it was in New York. For some reason in my mind, I mean, this was years ago, but I never realized it was actually in New York. I always thought it was somewhere else. But the Glen is in New York. Chad is frozen in video form, so that's awesome. So, and Chad Chad looks sad in the video. He's just kind of forlornly looking over to the side, as if to say,
I'm not frozen.
On my screen, you are totally frozen. And you look sad. You're just looking down, as if to say, why don't I have real internet yet? I wish I had real internet. I'm so sad.
That's probably actually pretty accurate.
Sad Chad is sad. Actually, Sad Chad almost has the same angle as Fake Chad. Fake Chad, Sad Chad, Fake Chad, Sad. Okay. I'm sure you'll unfreeze eventually. But Watkins Glen International Raceway is in, of course, Watkins Glen, New York. As we mentioned, it has 4 configurations, although it has 2 major configurations with a minor tweak to each of them, and that's basically whether or not the bus stop is there. There is the Cup course, which is what you will see the NASCAR guys racing on, and that is without the boot and has the bus stop. And realistically, you always want to have the bus stop on this track. As much as I rag on the chicane at the top of the hill at Lime Rock, which is the Devil Spawn, this bus stop, however, is challenging and fun to get through, so I'm okay with it. So the Cup course has that little chicane in it, well, the bus stop, and it does not have the boot. There is also the boot course, which, you guessed it, adds on the boot, which actually has a section of the boot called the toe, which is a little bit on the nose for me, but, hey, you got to do what you got to do. And then that, and both the classic or the normal configuration and the boot configuration come with or without the inner loop or the bus stop. Typically, I believe I've usually seen when you have the boot, you don't usually have the bus stop in there. But anyway, another thing that was surprising about this fact is the fact that apparently the boot adds almost a mile to the course, and I didn't realize that little jaunt down into Bootland was actually that long. But you're going to be racing at approximately 2.45 miles, 3.94 kilometers, without the boot. And if you add on that boot, you go to 3.4 miles or 5.47 kilometers. It is a fairly short track, especially if you're in the non-boot configuration. I mean, 2.4 miles is not a large road course. It only has 8 turns when you have the inner loop in there on the non-boot configuration, and it's a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite tracks, actually. And I don't know if it's just because when I was starting to learn road racing, it was the simplest one, or not the simplest, but one of the simplest ones to learn because there's not that many turns. Everything is very visually distinct, so a lot of courses, if they're longer, when I'm trying to learn all the corners, I have a hard time kind of getting into a groove, because when I don't know the course, I kind of forget where I am sometimes. These corners are very visually distinct. It's pretty hard to not know where you are on this course, so it makes it a lot easier to learn it and get to where you need to be, type thing. As far as the course goes, you're going to go down that front stretch, and it's kind of even, but then it goes slightly downhill as you enter towards turn 1, which is this basically 90-degree turn called the 90, because, oh, Chad is unfrozen. A little bit on the nose there as well. That corner is one of the trickier corners that I've encountered in my racing days, because you need to slow down more than you think you need to slow down until you slow down too much, and then everybody runs over you. There's a large runoff there, but it's very easy to go off on that and then find you're putting way too much wheel into the car and spinning out, which is always fun. Add on to the fact that the pit road kind of exits out into the exit of that corner, where you are all of a sudden now attempting to recover from taking the corner wrong. Because you just took that corner wrong, and now you're trying to recover, and you had too much wheel into the car, and you're trying to put the gas down. She's starting to spin out. Oh no, there's a car coming out of the pits at me, is kind of the scenario of turn 1 there. And then on the restarts, of course, it just becomes total mayhem. You kind of then go up towards the uphill, towards turn 2, which isn't much of a turn. It's kind of a kink. Then you kink back into the left on turn 3, and there's another easy trouble spot on this course, because turn 3, you come up, they have fences, you're going to come up to the top of that hill, and you're going to be doing that little veer to the left, and you're going to look to the left and the right of you, and you're going to say, catch fencing. That's weird. I'm not really turning that much. Why do they have catch fencing here? Well, I'll tell you why. Because you're going to hit that wall. Because you're going to put too much speed, because you're going uphill. It's like, well, of course I can just give it to the car. And then you're going to say, oh no, it's not turning enough. And then you're going to smash into the wall, and you're going to flip around and stuff and not end up in the grass, because there's catch fencing there to catch you. And then you're going to have this another little kink. Like that whole 2, 3, 4 section is very rhythm orientated, where you're going to kind of just ease around those corners and carry just enough speed. And it's important you carry the speed, because after you hit turn 4, you're going uphill. It's not like Bathurst uphill, but it's uphill enough that if you mess up those corners and lose your rhythm, that you're not going to get a lot of speed, and that's one of the faster parts of the track, because you got a nice long straight stretch going on there. Even longer if you don't have the bus stop. So you're going to do that back stretch swing slightly uphill, and then you're either going to hit the bus stop and go through it, sail through the bus stop, whether it's there or not, or just keep going if there is no bus stop. And again, always be bus stopping. If given the choice, always be the bus stop, or a unicorn, or Batman. Always be Batman. And that bus stop can be super, super tricky, because you are going to kind of try to hit the curb a little bit on the right on entry, but oh wait, there's grass over there to grab you. Then you're going to try to nick that one on the inside, and then keep enough momentum but not put too much wheel in the car, so that you kind of come around there, and then your car's going to really be trying to get crazy on you on the exit of that, as you're making that last right-hand turn back towards the carousel, and your car is going to be upset and silly, and there's a good chance you probably hit the grass or the sand in the middle of all that, if you didn't get run over or spin out completely. But when you nail it, man, it feels awesome, because you can carry a lot of speed through there, but it's real tricky to do. Now that, obviously depends on the car as well. But that bus stop is one of the funnest bit of track. It's very similar to the kind of feel that you get on the bus stop on the backstretch of the Daytona Road Course as well. That same sort of, I don't know if it's the same radiuses and distance and stuff, but it has a very similar feel to it. Then you're going to go to the carousel, which is turn 5, even though the inner loop is considered turn 5A, which makes no logical sense. But there it is. 5A should be in the middle of turn 5 or right after turn 5, not an entirely new turn in front of it. But I'm not a race course designer, so who am I to be picky? That carousel can be super tricky because you're going to want to carry more speed through there than you should. And the exit of that, depending on what you're doing, obviously, if you're heading down to the boot, this is where you would enter the boot on the exit of 5. But if you are not entering the boot, coming around that corner, you are going to really be playing with the throttle to try to get the right angle there. And you want to again, it'll vary a little bit between cars, but you're going to want to try to exit almost straight on the apex, right on the exit on that little bit of curve there, so you can kind of get that car as straight as possible exiting that corner to kind of hit that straight stretch, because that's another one of the longer sections on the track there. And that keeps going straight down, and then you're going to go by and you're going to see some more catch fencing on the left and right, and you're going to be all like, why is there catch fencing here? I'm going in a straight line. Surely there's no reason I'd be exiting the track here. Well, you would if you were on the boot configuration, because that's where the boot exits. And that was another thing before I actually raced the boot configuration, because all I'd ever seen was the NASCAR races there. So I thought, oh, I didn't know there was a boot configuration when I first started racing this course. So I went straight through there, as the NASCAR guys do when I was racing it for the first few times, like years ago. And I looked at the catch fencing. It's like, why? What could I possibly be doing wrong here, going in a straight line that's going to cause me to go flying into the crowd? I don't understand. Well, then I raced the boot configuration, and I understood. Because on the exit of the carousel, if you are doing the boot, you're going to come downhill to a tricky turn 6, which is a left-hander. You are going downhill. Your car is going to be slightly upset because it's a little bit off balance because of the elevation change. You're going to try to hit the curb on the left. You're going to fail. You're going to catch a bit of grass. You're going to go a little bit out of control. And you're going to hit the outside wall on the exit of turn 6. Or that could just be me. And also the problem with that is that fence is very close to the track. So if you hit it, you are bouncing right back out onto the track. And even if you manage to just pancake it nice, there's like barely enough room there to fit a car. So even if you manage to not come out on the track, people who are going to hit that curb on their exit are now going to hit you instead and smoosh you into that fence. So that is a very tricky corner to get right. A little bit of a straight stretch, then you're kind of doing this uphill left or right-hander, at the toe. And that can be tricky as well because, again, elevation changes love to upset cars. You're going to go uphill, down. It's almost like this uphill-downhill sort of thing on the back. This little straight stretch there at the bottom of the boot. And then you're going to be coming downhill slightly into turn 8. Another tricky corner. Lots of runoff, so if you mess it up, it's not so bad. But it's easy to not get some good speed coming out of there. You're going to come up back towards the track where you would be if you had not hit the boot, and you're going to encounter, oh look, catch fencing. Now I understand, because man oh man, the number of times I've spun out or seen people spin out on that exit back out onto the main track is amazing, because it is real easy to get that car off, get the car mad when you're exiting there, which leads basically right into where that catch fencing is, so you'll know it when you see it. Another little short shoot type thing here to a left-hander. Now we're back on the main track, whether you're booting or not booting. And you're going to do a little bit of left-hander with a lot of runoff here, which they have now paved on the actual track. So on the iRacing version, it is grass and sand trap. So no bear claws, sadly enough. So if you go a little bit wide on there in real life, it's not so bad. Here, well, you're in a world of hurt because all of a sudden you hit sand and forget about steering because it ain't happening no more. Then you're going to come down out of that into the final turn, which is a right-hander, which you can carry more speed than you think you can until you carry too much and you end up spinning out and hitting the pit entry wall, which is right on the exit of the corner. And don't say it won't happen because I've totally done it. And then you get that front straight stretch going back down into turn one. It is, like I said, it is a very easy course to learn because the corners are very distinctive. You're not going to get lost on the course. It's short, so you're not going to be, if it's a however many laps, race you're going to do or a timed race, it's not a physically grueling race like a lot of other tracks can be. But it can be very easy to get off rhythm. Like I said, especially that 2, 3, 4 S's section. Real easy to get off your rhythm and not carry enough speed down that backstretch type thing. But yeah, one of my favorite tracks to race on in anything, but nowadays in iRacing it can be a lot of fun. And like Chad said, the Radical is there this week, so it's their race this week. And also, the series that Chad is racing in, and I am broadcasting still for the moment, that's where they're at. And what configuration are you guys doing, do you know?
I have no idea.
Awesome! I'm
assuming the boot.
I should probably have checked.
I should probably have to. Yeah, this is, I think when we did our favorite cars and favorite tracks on the show last year, that I put Watkins Glen #1 on my road course tracks because I have had a blast through the years at this track, no matter the configuration. It has always been one of my stronger tracks on the roadside, and that really doesn't matter what car I'm in either. It's also the only track that I've ever won a GT3 race at. And I've done it, technically speaking, twice. I won in the actual GT3 challenge, and then Roy Clark and I won the 6 Hours at the Glen in a GT3 car. So at least we won the GT class. We didn't win the overall race, just the GT class.
Right.
So I've won in a lot of different cars here, and I've had a lot of success here. It's not... There are certain cars that I don't do all that great in here. The Cup car has been a struggle at times for me. I've still run well. Like I think I've either finished in or had a shot to finish in the top 5 in just about every race that I've ever been in the Cup car, except for a few. But I didn't feel fast. Like the guys that were winning the race or whatever were like 10 miles ahead of me, but I was at least, competitive enough to be in the top so many cars. It's just always been comfortable for me, and so that's why I ranked it #1. But I do enjoy the flow of it. A lot of elevation changes, the S's, the bus stops. I'm kind of like Trevor on the bus stop comparison to Daytona. It's got a nice feel to it. So it's definitely a fun road course, and even though I joked last week that I'm going to be sick of running there, I am actually looking forward to the races here in the upcoming next couple of weeks, just because it is one of my better tracks. So it's a good one for me to go to, especially with the Mustang this weekend. I'm kind of interested to see how that goes on Saturday to see if maybe I can get my best finish, which would have to be better than 4th in that series. So if I'm going to do it, this would probably be the track it would happen at. So we shall see. Yeah,
it should be an interesting race to call as well. I'm kind of wondering what the speed differential is going to be like with the Mustangs and the MX-5s, because there are some straight sections on there, but they're not really that long when you think about it. So the MX-5s are probably going to be a little bit better at the twistier sections, the bus stop and some of the stuff around the boot. Probably turn 1, to be honest with you. I think they'll be a little bit better at that. But the Mustangs aren't going to have as much room with those, shorter straight stretches to kind of stretch their legs out. So I wonder if the time differential is going to be pretty close between the cars. I'm not sure. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but that's just kind of what my gut tells me. is that they're going to be pretty close.
And for the record, we will be using on Saturday the classic boot configuration.
The classic boot? Wait a second.
That doesn't include the bus stop.
No, it does not.
But
Did they not hear
that's fine with me.
Did they not hear my speech? Always be bus stopping.
Always be bus stop. Yeah, I gotta tell you the truth. In the Mustang, I don't know that bus stop would be all that much fun. So
You probably the Cup cars handle it, man. So you see.
yeah, but the Cup car has more horsepower, so it's a little bit more. It's a little bit easier to fly through the bus stop with that, whereas the Mustang has less horsepower and doesn't turn and is like a giant tank. So doing that bus stop would suck, I think.
Yeah, you're probably right. Not having the bus stop does add that. I mean, now you're carrying even more speed going down to the carousel. And like I mentioned, that's kind of one of those turns where it's really hard to judge how much speed you need to take through there. And since you're going to have the extra speed coming in, that's probably going to make the carousel a little bit more challenging, I would imagine, than if you had that slow, that section where you're slowing down at the bus stop and you don't have enough time to get back up to speed after it. So, but yeah, that should be a fun race to call, should be a fun race to race in. Also, keep in mind that, as Chad kind of alluded to with the getting sick of racing the Glen, that we are 10 days away. June the 25th is 6 hours at the Glen. So that race is coming up pretty shortly. And if I remember correctly, that is going to be the Daytona prototype, the GT3 cars, at least some of them, and the rough C-Spec, I think, are the cars that are racing in that multi-class race. 6 hours at the Glen. So, of course, if I do get a chance to race in that, then I'll probably go with the GT3 because that's the cars I'm more comfortable with when it comes to that selection. Kind of hoping to race in that because, hey, it's the Glen, and the Glen is fun.
And they have 4 different time slots for this race, kind of similar to the past ones. So all that info is in the forums, but we're going to have several teams, I believe, from our little group. Still a few more openings if you would like to join in and race with us. And don't worry about if you're the best driver ever or the worst driver ever, because we're all about having fun here.
Yeah, and I mean, that's going to be one of the more challenging endurance races. I mean, we talk about stuff with the Nürburgring and some of the larger courses and stuff like that where they add their level of challenge to it because it's kind of more grueling. I mean, even the Daytona 24 because it's 24 hours, but that track, while not that challenging, is quite long. Sebring is obviously a tougher course. The Glen is not as tough of a course, but because it's so short, you're going to be in traffic a lot more over that 6 hours, especially with the multi-class racing. So I'd imagine that's going to be pretty mentally taxing to get through that 6 hours because you're going to have probably traffic around you doing different speeds at all times, I would imagine, during that race. So that will add its own level of challenge to it. Actually, yes, I was looking through our forums, and it looks like several people talking it up. So I'll have to make sure that I get my name in there and say, hey, you know what? I'd like to race this race because the Glen is fun.
You should race with Scott D on Friday night.
With who?
With Scott Dunlap.
Oh, okay. Yes, I see him in there. So
he can race on Friday night because he doesn't think he can race on Saturday because he might have to quit his job and lose his wife at the same time. So
I'd suggest not doing that.
Yeah, I'm going to suggest not doing that either.
I mean,
but
unless that's what you want. I mean, if
I know it's his life.
Yeah, I'm not here to judge, but but anyway, so that is Watkins Glen, one of our favorite tracks. Like I said, I kind of got my big spiel in about how to race around that course. So yeah, I've raced around there a few times and getting my inner broadcaster ready for Saturday night because I'm going to be ready to talk about that track. That's the other thing I'm looking forward to it because it's, like I said, it's not from a broadcaster point of view, it's going to be a lot easier to not get lost and not realize what, and not know what corners they're in. So that'll be it'll be easy from a broadcast point of view. And I'm really looking forward to seeing, because there's some really good racers in that in the Continental Endurance Sports Car Series that you race in. So I am looking forward to seeing what they can do with this course, because they can drive. So having everybody in traffic almost the entire time should make for some great racing on Saturday night. So check out the Twitch feed for me and Chad when the broadcast goes live, so you can actually, come out and watch it, because you want to. Exactly. And stuff and things.
Or the YouTube feed.
Or the YouTube feed. For the record, that race, let me just check the time of it. The time is broadcast going live at 6:05 Eastern Time on Saturday. So 6:05 Eastern, we will be going live with the broadcast. That's usually about 10 to 15 minutes before they actually go live to green flag. So if you're sitting around on Saturday night, want to watch some good, exciting racing, and you like the sound of my voice, well then come on by to the Global Sim Racing Channel YouTube channel. I always want to have to say channel there twice, and check it out.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that out of the way, something happened. Something's happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear, as the song used to go. Except for it is clear, because they told us exactly what's happening and why it's happening. In case you missed it, Tony Gardner sent out an email, or a forum post that is, and mentioned, well, the subject of the email, dang it, the forum thread, was iRacing membership pricing change. Everybody fears change. Change, So, he says, and I quote, and as Chad says, just get through it. Don't make jokes. Just tell the folks the information. Tony says, good day. Our never-ending goal here at iRacing is to keep improving our racing simulation and multiplayer service. Over a decade into it, and 8 years since we launched in the summer of 2008, our endeavor has become larger and more comprehensive than even we envisioned. It took us 3+ years of hard work and investment to get the basic structure in place and the foundations of the realistic sim we wanted. To this day, what we launched in 2008 is still very unique, and we have come a long way since then. It sure took a lot of everything to get here, including time and money. However, we quickly learned all of our initial plans and work wasn't going to be near enough. We had to do more, a lot more, if we were going to make a go at this in the long run. I suspect that will always be the case, but at least the journey has been a true labor of love, and we are having as much fun as ever. We have kept adding high-end technical talent as the years have gone on, and the sim and centralized service has become bigger, richer in features, and more complex. In fact, we have a much larger technical staff than we have ever had in our 10+ years here, and are still looking to hire more people. They didn't hire me. We need a large, talented professional staff with very diverse technical skill sets at this point. Not to mention, just the sheer volume of work is staggering. Long story short, we are bigger, moving faster, believe it or not, and more complex than ever. We have over 100 licenses and partnerships, and growing. Wow, didn't realize it was that big. I mean, we always talk about it all the time, but that's a lot of licensing agreements to have in place. Back to Tony. Additionally, just like everything else, our costs have just kept increasing over the years. Running a service such as this is very expensive, I have no doubt. Although we try to be efficient and smart with our spending, we don't take shortcuts when it comes to certain things, and we hope you notice it. Every company has costs and their own business issues. We are not unique. Every company is trying to figure out the best way to provide the most value and best experience our product or product to their customers. In order to keep doing what we are doing and continue to evolve, we obviously need our revenue to at least get close to matching our costs. I'm glad we have grown each year in customer numbers, as we have been able to cover most of our increasing investment and rising costs by doing that. However, after 8 years, it is also time to look at pricing in relation to our increasing yearly investment and our rising costs. We have never raised the prices of iRacing in the 8 years that we have been open for business. And actually, just as a side note, from my point of view, when I first joined up back in pre-release stage, it was more expensive than it is now. So they actually lowered it before they went live. So I can attest to that. Back to Tony. In fact, the only price adjustment we ever made was to decrease the prices. On top of that, we have added many member discount programs and ways to earn credits over the years. We also have membership promotional deals sales each year. If you took advantage of all these programs and sales, your membership would be almost free, as many members have discovered, and your content deeply discounted. This is not an easy decision, but ultimately we have decided for the good of the overall business, it is time to have a minor price increase to compensate for just a fraction of the inflation experienced over the 8 years. The price increase will take place on or around August 1st, 2016. Now here's where it gets, now just a side note, here's where I was waiting for the, everything's going to fall apart, it's going to get bad, everything's, this is going to be huge, whatnot. Now, here we go with the price increase. We will simply increase our subscription rates by $1 per month for our monthly subscription and less than $1 per month on our 3, 12-month, and 2-year subscriptions. That is $1 or less per month, people. Additionally, we are going to modify, now here's where it gets a little more twitchy. Additionally, we are going to modify our bulk content purchasing discount program slightly. We're going to reduce our 6-piece bulk purchase discount, easy for me to say, from a 20% to 15% discount. We're going to reduce our 25% 40-piece loyalty program, which is where I currently sit, from a 25 to a 20% discount. That's it. That is the price change. There will be no change to our 3-piece bulk purchase discount. That will stay at 10%. Same with our 100% content discount. That will stay at a 30% discount. We will make no changes to the price of our content, cars and tracks. Prices will stay at the current prices. That's prices too many times in that sentence. We are not making any changes to our official series participation program, in which you can earn $40 in credits per year, or our referral program, in which you can earn unlimited credits by referring a friend at $10 per friend. I thought it was 5.
10.
Awesome. Do more of that, people. Hosted session pricing and discounts will also not change. We tried to make the price change very minor. We want iRacing to be a great value and, very importantly, grow the membership. As important, that's not the right set words that you need there, Tony. I'm going to go with probably also important. We want to continue to invest heavily in the development and improvement of iRacing and be here for a very long time. We know a lot of people do not have much disposable income, and we definitely know we have to earn your loyalty. There are many things you can do with your free time and money, and appreciate that you have chosen iRacing. Even with these changes, an iRacing membership costs only pocket change per day. Same amount if you could do one of those Sarah McLachlan dogs or something. Only pocket change per day for any type of membership. A 2-year membership at full price without applying any of the credits mentioned or special pricing is only 27 cents per day. Less than a cup of coffee. A 1-year membership is just 29 cents per day. I also want to mention we are having a 25% off discount immediately this week, he says, for any type of membership, and we will run the sale through the end of June. We'll give you the details on that in a minute. That's me speaking. Again, the minor price increases does not take place until August 1st, so you can also lock in the current membership pricing now and extend your membership well into the future at the current pricing. In that sense, as a current member, you can avoid the minor price increase well into the future. Again, also on top of that, do not forget about the 25% discount sale running through the end of June on any membership type, 1 month, 3 month, 1 year, 2 year. We sincerely thank all of our terrific customers for getting us to this point and hope you all continue on this journey and shared passion with us for many years to come. End quote. So that is the big to-do around iRacing this week, is the fact that they've increased the membership costs by $1 or less per month and made some adjustments to the discount rates that you get for buying content in bulk. Now, on top of that, now not in this announcement, it appears that the underlying, and me and Chad looked, and we couldn't find anything official, but it appears that at least the perception don't know if it's been confirmed, is that some of those deep discount membership sales that a lot of us kind of count on are not going to be happening anymore. And I think that's probably where a lot of the ire from some of the community is coming from. Because realistically, if you had all the content, so you're up at that, high percentage of discount for whenever you bought content, you waited for the Black Friday or the July or whatever it is. They do it 2-3 times a year sale where memberships become 50% off. You could really, and then you get your participation credits and then your anniversary credits and all that stuff. You could almost be doing this for free, as he kind of mentioned. And I think was probably another impetus about this, was the fact that people were learning how to work the system in such a way that they really weren't spending a lot of money for the service, which businesses don't work well on no money, because, businesses are businesses. So anyway, that is what Tony has said. The community has some opinions on this. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But I've been talking for a little bit here. So, Chad, what is your thoughts on what has transpired with this membership pricing change?
I'm quitting iRacing.
That's it. I'm out.
No.
Mic drop.
No, I really don't care. I've seen different things in the forums what people say, and $1 per month. Like if you did a monthly subscription, $1 per month is 12 more months, that's already. I would not recommend. Unless you just have to for some reason, but I would not recommend doing the 1 month subscription anyways, because you're spending more money doing that over time than you would be if you just bought it for a year or something. So I don't see why there's really any reason to fuss, to be perfectly honest. And as Trevor read there from Tony, that this is the first time in 8 years that they have changed it. I gotta be kind of honest with you. I'm surprised it's been 8 years.
Yeah.
I feel like that should have happened long ago, maybe even 2 or 3 times. And yet this is the first time that it's happened, and it's $1 or less, depending on which subscription you go for. So I really don't see what all the fuss is about. Who cares?
Yeah, and it comes. Like I said, I think the bigger thing is the fact that they, if it is true that they're not doing the 50% membership sales anymore, which realistically they probably shouldn't. That was probably not good for business, because I know that's how I've sustained my membership for years now, is I just wait for the sale and up for 2 years, or at that time kind of thing. So I've saved a lot of money over the years by participating in that. So it's going to cost me more. My membership, I think, like I was saying before the show, I think is up in September. So I'm just going to use this 25% sale, which we'll give you the full details on that in a minute, and just up then and just be done with it and not have to worry about it anymore, kind of thing. But so it'll cost. It will cost me a little bit more now, but for what we're doing and for what we're getting, if it wasn't worth money, I wouldn't be doing it in the first place. You know what I mean? Like I'm here because I'm enjoying what the service offers, because it's unique in the world of sim racing. So if you need to raise your price by $1 a month, okay. It's kind of my opinion. But that's me.
Yeah, if the 50% thing is truly going away, I am gonna miss that. That will cost us more money, but at the same time, some of you that have been longtime listeners of the show, you'll remember we had Tony Gardner on the show, and he talked about with us in a different way, not about the price in general, but just he was talking about how they really don't make much money with all the stuff that they do. And that's one of the reasons why I wish that some of these people that complain so much about the price of this could see just how much money iRacing spends compared to how much we spend. Now, I know that iRacing is a business, so they ultimately have to spend a lot of money in order to make money, and that's the way businesses work, but it's kind of like, man, they do so much, and they even, and like for a year, they're, doing this 50% off thing, and, that's probably hurting them even worse. And as Trevor was saying, essentially if somebody played their cars right, they could basically race for free
Hmm.
in a matter of speaking. And, it just doesn't seem on paper like they were handling it the best way to make money. So I personally, I while I'm, if in fact the 50% stuff is going away, that's going to be a bummer. At the same time, it's like, So what I really hope they'll do now is this 25% thing going on. I wonder if they'll continue to do that. If that's going to be the thing that takes the place of the 50% and maybe only runs once a year or something.
Hmm.
Who
Yeah,
knows?
or run it twice a year, just for different timing on people would be perfectly fine.
Hmm.
Actually, I'm gonna have to remember to renew mine on time because I just checked and mine expires on September the 15th of this year, and as it turns out, September the 15th is also the day that I'm going back in for surgery on my eye. Because while you will notice that my eyes are way better after I had that surgery in February, the left one is still not quite right. It's way better than it was, but it's not quite right. So I'm going to get them to go back in and fix it, and that's on September 15th, the same day that my iRacing membership expires. So maybe I'll take some. Maybe I won't renew now. Maybe I'll wait because I'm not going to be racing for like a whole week, and that'll save myself some money. I'll just renew on. Well, but then I'll lose the 25% stuff. So yeah, probably not. Well, I'm not going to race for the week after my surgery because it's like no heavy lifting, and I didn't race last time because, I figured that turning a wheel was considered heavy lifting, and I didn't want to break my eyelids because I like my eyelids, and I want them to not be broken.
Hmm.
So,
Right now, I am through to May 2017. I don't know that I haven't decided yet if I will be doing this or not. I might wait and see where we are come Christmas or whatever. But I've still got a ways to go on this, so we shall see.
yeah, I mean, I guess there's not probably a lot of value in going through some of the forums. There is a 22-page forum
Hmm.
um, that has a lot of people talking. And don't get us wrong. I mean, we're not discounting the fact that, yes, it's money, it is disposable income, and not everybody has a lot of it. I just don't feel that this makes a big difference on that. If you're already spending the money for iRacing, then you've already kind of allocated those disposable funds to continue on with iRacing. So a slight increase in how much that costs you isn't that significant. But maybe having a membership for an iRacing is already significant. So I mean, we're not discounting the fact that money is tight for some people, and that might be a problem. But for such a minor increase, I mean, when people come in and say they're going to increase prices, they usually come at with, it's way more than something like this. So it's if you're going to increase prices, this is about as minor as they could possibly have done it when it comes down to it. So
Yeah.
as Rob Hope in the forum posts mentions, given we don't have an enormous active membership, that extra $1 a month isn't going to go far. Why not make it 2 or 3? In all honesty, I wouldn't have noticed a rise of $1 because exchange rates make it fluctuate anyway. And we chose to read Rob's post in the forum because his signature says, "When not racing, I choose to listen to the iRacing Today radio show," and then has a link to our web address there. So we like Rob because Rob's promoting the show. So everything he has to say is very pertinent, and it's right on the nose and perfect, in my opinion. But we can be bought. That's all I'm saying.
Wow. So yeah, the reaction from the forums is, in my opinion, split three ways. There are people that say that this has no significant change whatsoever. They really don't care. They're happy with it. It's like, yay, great. And then there is another group of people who are kind of in the same category as Rob, who are the same as category one, except they throw in the why didn't they just go two, three, or four more dollars? I saw several posts from people saying that. And then last but not least, of course, is the crowd of people who think that this is the worst idea ever and they're not sure if they're going to continue playing iRacing. So, all
Yeah.
three probably to be expected. Um, and honestly, that giant 22-page forum that Trevor mentioned is kind of like a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, I started to go through it before we did the show because it's like, okay, well, we kind of need to be up on what's going on in the community about major things like this, um, and it just no, there's just there's a lot of chaff, a lot of nonsense going on in order to actually get to people making valid points. Other than Rob Hope, who listens to the iRacing Today radio show. Um, or as the last post in that, at least as of right now, Jeremy Tester says, iRacing should charge $1 for every stupid post on the forums. Problem solved.
They should. That's a good point.
I like it.
Smart thinking. So, yeah, and from what I could tell, I went through all 22 pages. I have not seen a staff member post in there. If it gets too far out of hand, I wouldn't be surprised to see it get locked. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised to see it get locked anyways. But so far, it's going strong. And as I said, there's really not much. Like I said, it's just basically all three categories. You've got some people who are like, yeah, would have been okay with two or three more dollars. Some people just don't care. Other people are like, oh, this is dumb. I'm not going to play iRacing anymore. So and it's interesting, and I would expect, honestly, the way the community reacted to react that way. Personally, I don't really care. And I'm going to play iRacing for as long as I can.
Anyway, we'll get to what that sale actually means for you guys. One other thing we forgot to mention that was happening in the world of iRacing this week was they did encounter some DDoS attacks earlier in the week. For those who do not know, DDoS is distributed denial of service. What it basically is that people try to clog out your internet and make it so that nothing works. So the service itself was kind of spotty. I believe, as is the case with most DDoSs, it wasn't like anybody was attacking iRacing particularly. It was probably because they were attacking whoever their service is, their servers go through. So it's more of a widespread problem, and who iRacing uses was being attacked, so they lost a lot of their connectivity. I know some league races had some problems on Monday night. I believe this happened on the 13th. So, in case you were wondering, occasionally there are people out there, out in the internet world, who are just jerks, and they like to ruin fun for everybody else, and that happened, and iRacing was affected, but everything is back to normal now. So, just in case you were kind of curious as to what happened. And what happened was bad things happened.
So, the 25% off currently moving on through to the best day ever, in my personal opinion, and that is June the 30th, 2016. Do you know why it's the best day ever?
Wait, what day's the best day?
June the 30th.
Oh, okay. Is it your
You're supposed to know why.
Is it your birthday?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So the 2-year renewal is now only $134.25 when you use promo code Renew 2016 2Y, which stands for 2-year. The 1-year renewal is now only $74.25, and you can use promo code Renew PR-Renew 2016 12M. 3-month renewal is now only $22.50, and you can use the promo code PR-Renew 2016 3M. and 1 month is only $9. Use the promo code PR Renew 2016 1M. But as I mentioned, this expires on June 30th, 2016 at 23:59 GMT. So basically right before July 1 hits, which is the middle of the year this year, by the way. Don't forget that when you renew early, the extra time gets added to your existing membership. One of the cool things about iRacing, but obviously it is kind of like a duh, but in case you were not sure, it does get added on to what you already had. So, like for example, mine currently expires in May of 2017. If I bought one of these, let's say I bought the 2-year deal, it would push it out to May 2019, which is insane to think because that's forever from now. But anyway, so if you want to take advantage of one of these 4 deals, type in the promo code. Click on your shopping cart icon at the top, which I'm assuming is a cart now and not a cone, as it used to be a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you can apply the promotional code. There'll be a little box there where you can apply it. And then click apply. It'll add it to your cart, and then you can check it out. You can enter a key thing here to note. You can enter each promo code up to 3 times. So if you want to add on, and I don't know, somebody may do this, but if you wanted to add 6 years onto your deal with the 2-year deal, there you go.
Yeah, if you're saying $1 a month is not going to be, you ain't going to get me iRacing, I'm going to renew for the next 6 years, you could totally do that. And see, it's like price protection because, what if next year they raise the prices again? Not for you. You're locked in.
Yeah. That would put you up to, what, 2022, I guess?
Yeah. Now, of course,
depending on, like if that's like in Trevor's case where his thing runs out this year, if your thing runs out in 2 years, then it could be like 2024. So.
Bam.
Booyah.
So, of course, those promo codes, don't worry if you were driving and you were trying to balance a piece of paper on your knee while you're going down the Autobahn with a pen in your hand. First, don't do that. That's dangerous. Stop it. You're going to hurt somebody. Nope. Put it down.
Probably yourself.
Put it down. It's okay. Don't worry about that. You didn't get those codes written down because they are plastered right on the front of the iRacing page. And, of course, I will put them in the show notes. So in case you're saying, what the heck did Trevor say? I don't want to know what's going on. Go to iRacingTodayRadio.com. They'll be right there on the page for you. Also, it's just Renew 2006 and then 2Y, 12M, 3M, 1. It's really... You don't need to write them down. It's
PR-Renew.
True. Or you could just start just hit the little code or the little cart, and the first thing that pops up is there are no items in your shopping cart at this time. Promotion, gift certificate code. Just put random stuff in there. Who knows what'll happen? Maybe you'll win a prize. Let's see. Enter promotion code iRacing Today Radio Show. Apply. Invalid code. See, that didn't work. So don't do that one. That one it does nothing. So anyway, those are the promo codes if you want to renew and lock yourself in at the slightly lower price, or heck, if you're just running out anyway and it's 25% off, so you might as well just take advantage of it now if you're planning on continuing to iRace for years to come, or months, depending on which one you use. Since they'll probably do them twice a year, I'd suggest at least doing 6 months, because that way you're probably going to get to the next time they have a sale. You're probably right around Black Friday, they'll have something going on. I'd imagine. It'll probably only this 25% one. That's okay. Sale's a sale. It's free money.
Yeah.
It's basically free money. Just dollar bills floating from the sky. I don't think that's how it actually works, but, if it did, I'd get in on that because that's, because free money. So, anyway, that, I believe, will about do it for this week. A bit short of a week. The only thing major happening was, of course, all that price stuff, so we gave you some extra content. Hopefully, you know Watkins Glen a little bit better than you did before because I like to talk about Watkins Glen because it's a cool track and I love it. Like a brother. Nothing creepy. But that'll about do it for this week, and we'll be back hopefully. I'll say next Thursday back on regular schedule, but who knows anymore? It's a random number generator pops up.
It might be
says,
Monday.
Here's when you're doing the show this week, and I'm be like, I guess that's when I'm doing the show this week. I don't know anymore. I'm very confused about life, but assuming that we get on schedule, we'll be back in 8 days for show number 147, almost up to 150. Woohoo! We'll have to have a celebration or something, because 150 seems like a milestone that we should celebrate. But until show 150, which isn't next week, but until then, or next week's show, whatever you prefer, thanks to all of you out there for listening. We really do appreciate it. Remember, the show is available for download on iTunes under the podcast section, where we would really appreciate a review to help us get the word out. The show is also archived on YouTube under Ratface Productions, and it's Cadillac. You can check out the website for live shows, archives, information, links, and the polls we mentioned on the show over at iRacingTodayRadio.com. Follow us on Twitter. I'm at iRacingToday, and he is at It's Cadillac.
And you can email any questions, comments, and poll suggestions that you may have to feedback at iRacingTodayRadio.com. And remember, we are literally, at the time of this recording, halfway through June.
Woo.
So you only have 14 more days to vote in our current poll on our website. So get to it. Feel free to add me and Trevor as friends on the iRacing.com members website. And if you are not yet a member and decide I want to get in before the dollar increase, please refer one of us in the referral box, because that gives us money for free. Trevor's email is ratface@gmail.com, and mine...
I was making it rain dollar bills, but then I bumped my microphone.
Yeah, that didn't work out too well. And my email is iracinglegend@gmail.com. But until sometime soon?
Probably.
I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, remember that the race is rarely won in the first turn.
But it is often lost there. Good night, everybody.